Sometimes leveling people is doing a disservice to those who require a little bit more. So, for example, if you're a teacher and you have a child in the classroom that is on the spectrum, is autistic or, neurologically challenged, right? And you say, I'm going to treat all of my students equally. Well, you have students in the classroom that require some extra attention. So by treating everybody equally, you're doing someone a disservice. You're doing someone an injustice, because there are people that deserve and require a little bit more. You guys follow me? It's the same thing when we say Black Lives Matter. That doesn't mean other lives don't matter. It just means in this very moment, Black lives require a little bit more attention because of the, insurmountable, instances of police brutality, abuse of force, and in many instances, murder. You think about the young boy, Tamir Rice, man, subhanAllah. Just don't think that his situation was talked about enough. Tamir Rice was 12 years old, playing with a toy gun. The cops were called on him, and within under a minute of the cops pulling up to the scene, Tamir Rice is shot dead. That means that if the cops, within the time that they pulled up to the time Tamir Rice was shot, there was less than a minute. That means that the cop didn't even have an opportunity, or didn't even give himself an opportunity to even talk to this kid. You got out and put it down, or whatever the case may be, the young boy's reaction or response, a deer in headlights, and you start shooting. So when we say, leveling everybody sometimes is doing someone a disservice. This is why the Prophet ﷺ, when he used to distribute the spoils of war, he used to give some more than he gave others. And someone that doesn't have wisdom or doesn't understand wisdom is putting everything in its proper place. Al-hikmah wad'u shay fi mawdi'ihi al-la'iqu bi. The scholars, they say that wisdom is putting something in its proper place. And so someone who doesn't understand wisdom, they're watching the Prophet ﷺ give this person more than that person, this person more than that person. And this guy stands up and he says, "Oh Muhammad, i'dil. Oh Muhammad, be fair. Give everybody the same amount." Why would I give everybody the same amount when everybody has a different set of circumstances? Our religion teaches us to meet everybody where they are. Meet everybody where they are. And sometimes, putting everybody or treating everybody the same way at the same time is an injustice. And the same applies to a man that has multiple wives in polygyny. As a man, you may think, well, I'm going to treat all of my wives the same. But all of your wives don't have the same circumstances. At what point do you look at each and every individual and meet them where they are based upon the circumstances that are particular to them? And so when Aisha said to the Prophet ﷺ, would you allow your animal to graze around a tree that had been eaten from or a tree that had not been eaten from? He knows what she's angling for. She's angling for distinction. Hey, do you see me over here? I'm the only one of your wives that have not been married to another man. I'm the only virgin that you married. And the Prophet ﷺ could at very least acknowledge that. These are what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala call al-ma'un, wa yamna'un al-ma'un, and they deny, small kindnesses. It's a small kindness to acknowledge that your wife has a certain feature or distinction that separates her from the other wives that you might be married to. But to say, oh, so you want me to treat you differently than you treat everybody else? Yeah. That doesn't mean treat me better. It means to look at my situation and what my situation specifically requires and meet me where I am. A brother is married to a sister who is a new convert to Islam, and he's married to a sister who is born and raised in the religion. Obviously, the sister who is a new convert requires a different level of patience, understanding. That's not to say that the sister who was born and raised Muslim doesn't require that either. But at the same token, look at how the Prophet ﷺ interacted with those who converted to Islam from outside of Arabia in comparison how he dealt with those who were born and raised in Mecca, that were around him, that took Shahada from the very beginning. They were not the same. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Say, are they equal, those who know and those who don't know? They're not equal. They're not the same. That means that they should not be dealt with the same. So for men, in polygyny, it's very important that they are intuitive. It's very important that they have wisdom, hikmah. Very important that they meet everybody where they are. The same applies with our children. And I can go on and on and on and on and on. You have 3, 4, 5 children. You have some of your children require special needs for whatever situation they're dealing with. And you're not going to treat all of your children equally the same, because that would be unfair to those who require a little bit more attention. We understand the concept? Is that understood? Equity, right.